oral reading rates in the school's data tracker. This year, Kayla took on the grades 3 through 5 ELA coordinator role to assist ELA support throughout the building. She's also a member of the Alden Place BLT. It's an honor for me to recommend Kayla Craig for tenure.
Thank you, Tom. Do I have a motion to grant tenure? Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Wave to us. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Congratulations.
Next, we have Samantha Freeman, who was hired as Samantha Hale.
Yes.
And Dr. Watkins will be giving her speech about that.
Yes. So I'm very fortunate to be the one speaking on your tenure because I have been with you as well the last 3 years and spent a great deal of time in your classroom and seen all the hard work that you do. So Samantha's dedication and passion have truly made a lasting impact at Elm Drive. She has built a classroom where routines are clear, expectations are consistent, and every child feels safe, valued, and seen. The nurturing environment she has created not only supports young learners, but fosters a deep sense of belonging and community. Her commitment to student-centered, inquiry-driven learning and her unwavering support of families and willingness to mentor and guide future educators are a testament to her exceptional leadership and heart for teaching. We're so proud to celebrate this well-deserved milestone with you. Congratulations.
And clap until we go. Do you have a motion to grant tenure? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions, comments? Concerns? All in favor? Aye. Any against? Very good. Now you can clap.
Next, we have Jenna McCarthy, hired as Wilson.
So good evening. So Ms. McCarthy has been a valued member of the Millbrook High School Science Department since joining us. She consistently demonstrates a deep commitment to both her content area and to meeting the needs of all her learners in her classroom. Ms. McCarthy brings science to life for her students through inquiry-based learning lessons, hands-on labs, and real-world applications. She is especially skilled in making rigorous content accessible to all of our learners and provides constructive, immediate feedback and supports student growth and confidence. She's visible, approachable, and always willing to go the extra mile, whether offering additional support before or after school, leading Regents boot camps, or helping students see the relevance of science, beyond the textbook. In addition to her strong instructional skills, Ms. McCarthy contributes generously to the broader school community. She has served as a class advisor for multiple grades, supported extracurricular clubs like the garden and environmental clubs, chaperoned events such as prom, senior trip, and homecoming, and even pitched in with our drama production. Her presence and dedication enhance the school climate and strengthen the relationships we strive to build within our students and families. In short, Ms. McCarthy is an effective educator, team player, and a positive presence in our school community. She has demonstrated the instructional competence, professional integrity, and student-centered mindset that aligns with the values in the Millbrook Central School District. It's with great confidence that I recommend Jenna McCarthy for tenure.
A motion to grant tenure?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns? All in favor? Aye. Any against? Very good.
Next, we have Mr. Cabello, who is honoring Anna Nairati.
Thank you. So when Ms. Nairati first came to us, it was very quick and evident within the ELL department that she was going to be an incredible leader within the department. Very quickly, she assumed that role in not only doing all of the work for her students and their families, but leading the department through mentorship of other teachers who were coming in new to the district, just like her, but her valued experience was just so huge for what we were doing here in Millbrook. And in that time, that was never enough. She continued to grow the department, leading huge nights that have been attended by so many families, but both our ELL families, but other families that just want to support the program. And that's been a huge, huge addition to our district. She was not satisfied with just helping out our ELL students and took on the role of being a Spanish educator in our district as well. So while also leading as our ENL coordinator and being an ELL teacher and being a Spanish teacher and working at the high school and at the middle school, she was wearing many hats beyond successfully. Again, she has continued in these last 3 years that she's been here, maybe 4, I apologize. I've seen her, it's been like 4, it feels like 4, it's been a long relationship. I've seen her obtain a degree in administration, become Orton Gillingham, or in the process of being certified, CSE chairperson trained, amongst the many, many things that she does each and every day here. She is beyond an incredible person to have in this district. She's a leader. She's wonderful for kids, for families, and all does it while being an incredible, dedicated mom and wife as well. So it is beyond my pleasure to recommend Ms. Navarrete for tenure.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Very good.
So I am up next. It's my pleasure to speak about Dr. Watkins. So since joining our district, Dr. Watkins has consistently demonstrated clear vision and dedication to improving student learning and forging partnerships within the community. Amy has exemplified communication by expanding our footprint on social media, adding monthly newsletters, and working with our communications consultants to utilize more effective communication strategies and tools. They're supporting a culture of transparency, collaboration, and inclusivity. In addition to her communication efforts, Amy has successfully continued the refinement of the observation process for educators by implementing an integrated reliability project and monitoring consistent and data-driven observations systems. Amy has ensured that teachers receive timely and actionable feedback necessary to enhance their professional growth. This approach has provided clarity for our instructional staff, allowing them to focus on continuous improvement and ultimately delivering better outcomes for our students. One of Amy's most notable achievements has been her leadership in aligning our district's grading systems with current best practices. By leading a comprehensive review and restructuring of our grading processes, she's created a more cohesive and equitable system that accurately reflects student achievement and growth in pursuit of achieving the standards set forth for each grade level. Furthermore, Amy has provided ongoing coaching and support to our teachers and administrators, offering targeted professional development and mentoring to help them succeed in their classrooms and in their buildings. This support has been instrumental in helping to refine instructional best practices and develop stronger connections with students. Amy consistently demonstrates a growth mindset, working with teachers individually and in teams to foster a professional learning environment that promotes progress. In providing feedback and targeted support, Amy is moving the bar for excellence in teaching. This year, Amy launched our district continuing education program. This endeavor has been years in the making. We're currently taking applications for folks to participate. So you have a sample there in front of you of our first continuing education catalog, which hats off to Amy because I tried when I was in her position and she finally got it done. So congratulations. And I'm honored to make this recommendation.
Do I have a motion? A second?
I'll second.
Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Very good.
And last but most definitely not least, we have Allison Webb.
Allison Webb has a fantastic connection with students, colleagues, and families. She's completing her third year as a special education teacher with Mrs. Greger in the fourth grade ICT room. She completed her first year of Orton Gillingham training during that first year in the district and will complete the Orton Gillingham practicum this year. Allison was also trained as a CSE chairperson this spring. And Allison is one of the most detailed teachers for CSE meetings, providing parents with a more complete picture of their child's program progress. Her advocating for her students is commendable. Allison is in her second year as the Alden Place Yearbook Coordinator, first year as a co-advisor of the Science Fair, third year as a sound coordinator of the annual talent show. And during our mid-year meeting in February, Ms. Webb stated, "The best thing about my job is being with kids." And so true. It's my pleasure to recommend Allison Webb for tenure.
Do you have a motion to grant tenure? Have a second? Questions, comments, concern? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Very good. Now, as you can probably all tell, my favorite part of these meetings is when we get to have cake. So, we're gonna take, for anybody that's online, we're gonna take a few minute intermission. So we can celebrate all our members of our family. Very good. Good, all right. All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Any, actually, do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Anything anyone wants to talk about, question, comment? Anything? No? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Any against? Wait. Let's see here. All right, next is the approved capital project update.
Okay. Just give me 1 second to share my screen. Okay. So we wanted to put together a couple of slides just to explain next steps. Everybody's very excited after our vote 2 weeks ago. So once again, a huge thank you to the entire community that came out and made their voices heard. We very much appreciate all the support that this project is receiving. And now we get to talk about what we do next. So we created this informational for the board tonight, but also to kind of bring people up to speed that have maybe been watching at home or maybe just getting dialed into the conversation. And so one of the things that we did was we put together the timeline of just this school year. So most of the people in this room know this has been a multi-year endeavor. Probably over the last 3 years, we've been really pushing for this. But over the course of this year, we just wanted to include this year's journey. And it culminates the first half with the November 19th failed vote. And then our May 20th successful vote. So once again, thank you to everyone who voted. We really do appreciate it. But now we get to talk about next steps. So where we are now, you can see the highlighted box, summer, fall of 2025. Our next steps this Thursday, actually 2 days from now, we will have our post-referendum, what they call the schematic design phase kickoff meeting. So as some of the board members may recall, the actual design work, the bid specification, writing, the blueprint building, roughly 5 to 10% of that happens before the vote, right? A lot of the estimates are built from similar projects, similar specs and scopes, but they don't actually do the Millbrook specific design work until after the vote passes. So first steps are to get those blueprints and bid specs and plans drawn up and up to Albany as soon as possible to get them into the approval queue at NYSEG. Once the Office of Facilities Planning has a chance to review that paperwork, they're going to send it back to us, and we anticipate that happening in the fall to the winter. We're hopeful that we can get the schematic design, the initial plans set this summer. We'll have more information about that after Thursday's meeting. But the basic steps of the process is to get this to Albany, get it approved. If there's anything holding up that approval, Albany's architects and engineers will send back their revisions or their notes. Our design team will revise accordingly, resubmit. Once everything is finalized and blessed, we will be authorized to go out to bid under Wick's Law. Remember, we do everything by OGS and Wick's Law, so anything that has to be bid out will be bid out once the formal plans and specifications are approved. Part of that bid process is to build a construction schedule, which we will then, hopefully all things go well, we will bring the successful bidders to the Board of Education after they've been vetted. The board, looks at the potential contract, the board awards the contract, and then we start scheduling work, cutting purchase orders and all of that stuff. Hoping to get some construction lined up for next summer. Again, that'll be heavily influenced by how fast we can get our project approved, turned around by the state ed officials, and out to bid. So I covered a lot of that in the timeline slide, but these are the priorities for our Thursday meeting and really the next steps of our mission. So we need to prioritize the most urgent needs first, right? We're sitting in the middle school. We've talked about this roof pretty extensively. So first things first, we have to prioritize the most critical needs to the top of the list. In doing that, we also have to think about, well, how do we manage this? Construction's timeline is going to be 1.5 to 2 years out. How do we manage the situation with failing systems and structures in the interim? One of the other considerations we have to make is what are the overlapping design considerations? So again, one of the most straightforward examples is at Millbrook Middle School, we are going to be putting a lot of new HVAC equipment on the roof. So not only are we replacing the roof, but we're redesigning it with reinforcement, structural steel, and allowances for additional penetrations, for piping, for ductwork, and structural supports to support the physical equipment. So it would make sense that those things are designed and potentially submitted together. But we don't necessarily want to design everything and wait for everything's design to be approved before we go out to bid. So there's going to be a balancing act of prioritizing the most critical things, what are overlapping or related, and how do we phase the work prospectively thereafter. So then there comes the question of money, right? So on the financial side, we want to estimate the timeline because the timeline of construction will inform the timeline of expenditure. Basically, are we putting out 30 million in contracts out at one time? Or are we going to do 10 million, then 10 million, then 12 million? So the phasing will influence how we allocate our existing funds and when we have to go out with our bonds to incur the debt to take on the balance of the expenses. And so tonight on the Board of Education agenda, the board is going to entertain a resolution for bond issuance. And we wanted to really address that directly because I could understand the skepticism in the community of saying, you spent months telling us you're not going to borrow money till you need it, and the meeting after the vote, you pass the resolution to take our money. And that sounds like a very simplistic way to say it, but I could understand the optics of that, and we wanted to address that directly. And so on this slide, I put a little Q&A together just to answer those questions. So at tonight's meeting, the Board of Education will be asked to vote on a bond resolution for each of the approved propositions of this project. Does this mean the district will be issuing bonds right away or within any given time frame? And the answer is no. The board's resolution tonight to approve the bond issuance is literally that. It's to approve us to issue the bonds when we need them. Resolutions of this nature are good for 10 years, which means by taking action tonight, should the board approve the bond resolution, the board is opening a 10-year window of allowing us to issue those bonds and take on that debt when we need to fund those parts of the project. Do these resolutions include a consideration for the 12 million in cash and reserves that the district already has available? Yes. And once again, we want to reiterate, we are front loading the project with that $12 million. So the first 12 million we spend are coming out of our cash and reserves. We are not anticipating needing to borrow any money for the first 12 million of work. And the last question that we could see coming up is, will the district have to borrow the full amount authorized by these resolutions? And that answer is no. This is a not to exceed resolution. So the board is going to entertain $27+ million in bond issuance. Over the last 8 years, the district has been able to put away $10 million in reserves that earned about $700,000 in interest. So hoping that our budgeting process allows us to have any money left over at the end of the year beyond what we're able to carry over and put into reserves, we would then have some extra surplus cash to put towards this project. That money, rather than put it into a capital reserve, could be transferred to the fund for the project and further alleviate that tax burden to the community. So with that, are there any questions?
When does the EPC start?
So that'll be a conversation for Thursday. And a lot of that is exactly in that lane of overlapping or related scope, right? So the EPC is going to address the windows, the roofing, thermal insulation. And so I anticipate that the EPC has to be designed in parallel with the major parts of the project, but we'll get that answer and the timeline related out of Thursday's meeting or soon after.
And so the one thing that I can't have, it just can't, is us lose track of where we are. You know, some of these projects in other places, that'll be done in 6 months, and then 8 months, 9 months, the critical path gets broken. Who's going to be, because we really want to establish a formal communications, whether it's once a month or I don't think we need to do it every meeting unless there's some emergency, but we need to have a project manager. Basically, we said we'd be here, we're going to make it up by doing this, or we're ahead, so we're going to pull some stuff in. Who is that and how do we get that set up?
So that is embedded in the construction manager's role in terms of tracking. Myself and our superintendent would be the owner's representatives at those project meetings, which when we're underway will happen weekly.
Okay.
Probably not for the first few months because they're just gonna be sending bodies here. There's gonna be a lot of legwork and preparation and planning. Once we get past schematic design and we go out to bid, there's gonna be regular meetings where either myself and or Caroline will be at the table with the construction managers, the architects, and the prime contractors. That's okay. So we'll be at the table. There will not be any meetings held without owner representation in the form of one of us. And I would say, at minimum, I can include a provision in my board reports for that update to the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the points that some of the public made was, you know, who's gonna manage this? How do we know it's happening? And I wanna make sure that we are as transparent as we possibly can be with the public on this.
So, and I know a lot of this is new for this board and the community, so I can give you just a brief example of the payment application process, because I think that may address some of these concerns. With a payment application for a capital project where there's a number of payments, not just a one and done payment, right? So we're gonna make maybe 12, maybe 20 payments for this project. Embedded in that payment application is a schedule of payments, and that is established for the entire contract. So let's say it's a $10 million HVAC contract. And of the $10 million, they want to get paid $500,000 a month on average for 20 months. Just again, round numbers, right? So in payment application 1, they're going to give me a schedule of values that shows the percentage of completion for every item on that list and where they are from the last payment to this payment. That application is vetted by an architect engineering representative. Then it goes to the construction manager. Then it comes to me. And then when the district reviews it, we bring it to the board to authorize payment. So at every one of my board reports, I can speak to, we have payment application 3 for the HVAC contractor, payment application 2 for the electrician contractor. I've personally reviewed it with Mr. Mullins. We'll go through after the construction manager, after the architect. John and I will walk the site. I'm going to count how many blocks they put up, make sure that they match, and then we authorize payment. So that's how we watchdog it incrementally once the project is underway.
Elliot, if I can make a suggestion as we kind of move forward, I know this is being extremely proactive, but as it's kind of the work starts to being done, we should start constructing a maintenance schedule. Basically having the conversations with whoever's doing the work of what needs to be done and when they should do it. So we kind of have build the outline as we go. And then we can be transparent with the public, because I know that was a big point of contention with them.
Certainly. One of the things that I've done on previous projects that I've already spoken to with this project is any major equipment that's being looked at before it's finalized in the spec, I'm going to ask, if at all possible, for them to bring a sample to us or allow us to go to a site that has that equipment. I want our mechanics touching things before they're installed on our roof. Okay. So I want to know that they can tear it apart, that they can repair it. One of the requisite items at project closeout are the operations and maintenance manuals, along with the as-built plans that have the specifications for all things that need to be maintained or cared for. So that'll be discussed through the bid spec. We'll know that at the time of contract signing, and then we'll be able to reiterate and vet it with the O&Ms that come through at the end of the project.
I would say our capital page on the website, we should just keep using that to keep the public updated, to be our recommendation.
Certainly.
For any major equipment, I'd say look at cost of ownership for it before choosing.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Cost of ownership for pieces of
Yes.
equipment, just so we are not getting, something that's gonna drive a lot of expense going forward. And then for the submission to the state, it's gonna be broken into pieces? Or, okay.
Yeah, so that's part of what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about, there's gonna be some like buzzwords buzzing around, like we're gonna talk about phasing.
Yeah.
So a lot of districts use alphanumeric phasing. So this is phase 1A, phase 1B. So 1A probably will be the middle school roof. 1A may also include middle school HVAC. The linkways may be 1B, right? Just for argument's sake. Like, so however it makes sense to phase it, and then we can identify those phases with updates. Like click here for phase 1 updates that include with a little blurb. We can totally do that. A lot of districts do it. They have minutes of their project meetings or the board updates themselves. Like we could do, if it makes sense to do a quarterly, like a slide deck presentation with pictures of progress being made, I can put that up there. Like however you guys feel most comfortable managing that message. we're gonna have a lot of that stuff at our fingertips to just kind of put it together in a way that makes sense for the community.
Is there any way to expedite, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
No, that was
I have
gonna
one
be
more
my
question.
is there any way to expedite 1A as far as the roof and the HVAC?
So that's
That was my.
part of the conversation on Thursday is going to be exactly that. There's a little bit of what I'm understanding to be a lull in the queue at state ed. Granted, everybody just had their vote in May, so there is, and also an anticipated log jam coming. Because anybody who got that May 20th approval is right now fighting to get their stuff up to Albany. There are caveats to it. EPCs are not eligible for third-party review, which is one expediting method. We can ask for expedited review for failing things, which I think our roof would probably qualify. But that's all part of the conversation that we're gonna have on Thursday, is really how much can we get up there and how fast can we get it there without other things suffering. Like, I don't wanna leave out the linkway if it's gonna affect the roof construction, right? So we may have to send it all up there, but they're gonna tell us that. That's kind of an architect-driven decision.
Dina, Jen, anything? Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, thank you, Elliot.
All right, good. All right. New business. Yeah, middle school, these are the bonds.
Yes.
Number one is the middle school and high school bond. Do I have a motion to approve it? Authorize it? So moved. Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments, concerns? All in favor? Any against? Do I have a motion on the elementary school bond resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, I'll second.
Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right. Next is reading of policy 4322, timeout and physical restraint. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Oh, and this is, sorry, this is also a request to forego the second reading. So once again, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Questions, comments? Did you want to say anything about?
No, it's the standard and it's the policy at this point.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sure.
I'm just looking for the right part of it. There was something about data, was it the data collection? Sorry, I pulled it up now, I lost my spot. Basically it's, and it's just a clarification, when you're documenting or keeping track of like the number of incidents, is that per the student or per the employee at school or both?
It could be both. It would be really to make sure that the student is placed in the appropriate setting, and if it's not that there's modifications. It's really about looking at patterns
Yeah.
and seeing if modifications that need to be made regarding either the program or potentially staff or supervision, etc.
Okay, that's what I thought, thank you.
Is this our first, do we have a policy before this? This is new for the state. Yes, that's what I
Yes.
thought. And so will this be referenced within our code of conduct?
Well, so just to be very clear, it's not something, and it's by design, not something that is a part of any child's IEP. It's not something that is a planned intervention at any point. It would be in an emergency situation, and there would be training provided of when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate to use. So it will be referenced in the code of conduct, but it is not intended.
That's right.
It's one of those things that we hope to never use.
That's right. Yep, I just want to make sure it
Yeah.
was.
But the regulation changed, so we had to make sure that we change the policy to reflect that.
Anything else? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any against? All right. Next, under old business is, first reading of 1500 with a request to forego the second reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions, comments?
I do have one. So I was reading not the policy, but the guidance that's attached. And it talks about best practice would be to have the parent or eligible student indicate their understanding that the board meetings are recorded and made available to the public.
We're on school
This
use
board.
of facilities.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I jumped out. Oh, never mind. We'll come back to that.
I was like, what are we notifying?
I'm so sorry.
There's a little Saturday Night Live reference.
Yeah. Never mind. Just to.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm
we're just on the
sorry.
one above, the public use of school facilities.
Anything else? All in favor?
Good.
Any against? Okay. Now there's a policy 2245, as student board member. And a request to forego the second reading. Do I have a motion?
So
So
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, questions, comments, concerns?
okay. So in the guidance, it speaks about notifying the parent or eligible student to indicate their understanding that the board meetings are recorded. Should that be put into the policy, or is that just something I just want to make sure we do that?
I mean, we don't,
I think we can easily add it, that we would do that. We can just add a line.
I mean, we don't really like, when people join the board, we don't specifically go, don't forget the meeting to be being recorded. We kind of just, well, assume you get it. I mean, but if we want to add that.
Anyone have a problem with that? I mean, the guidance is just explaining that there's obviously
I think
nothing
it's the
related to
intersection of
the,
purple policy that
yeah,
we're
it's
looking
nothing,
at.
nothing related to the student record that would
Right.
be revealed anyway.
Mhm.
All right, so can we add some sort of pointer to that? If we, can we approve, well, want to do this next time?
I think we've done that before, approved with the.
With
With a change,
Yeah, but
yeah.
we don't have the, like, where would you, do you know where you would put it, Cheryl?
Probably the section that says, the number of meetings, just say X number of recorded meetings.
Oh, that's good, yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so,
Okay.
do I have a motion or to change the motion on, with modifications? Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments from there? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any against? All right, 4531 field trips and excursions with a request to forego the second reading. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions, comments?
I do have two.
Good.
The first was, I think brought up by Dina at the last board meeting, under the second bullet, under desirable field trips, what's highlighted there, fundraising plan. Can we just do a little space and then add that under the two bullets? Because even an educational field trip might need fundraising. The way it reads is that it's only for desirable field trips. Is that what I mean, that's what
If
it
we
looks
make
like.
the determination that it's educational, don't we have to pay or don't,
All worse, yeah.
right?
That's the piece.
So
So the district
So
would be
the district
responsible
would
for ensuring
definitely-
that students couldn't go on an
Okay,
educational
okay.
field trip.
okay, so the district would definitely cover it. Okay, then that's fine. And then I'm gonna bring fully transparent, I'm bringing up CPR again, because it's my recommendation that there should be, if we're requiring somebody to be CPR trained within each building when our children are in the building, and even at district events, I just don't see how this would be any different.
So, what do you,
Like a chaperone
You
should
wanna
be
have a
trained, is that what
chaperone.
you're saying?
I think at minimum, I mean, my recommendation would be that to the extent possible, maybe I could compromise and say, we don't have to use the word must if I understand that's not state requirement.
if it's a policy, we either do or we don't.
Well, for instance, a heat index policy says when practicable. And there's a number of policies.
The law says.
Right.
The law says we're impracticable.
Right. So what I'm recommending is just thinking of, our district is a pillar, a role model for other districts in terms of safety.
So you would be okay with where possible?
Where
or something?
practicable or to the extent possible, at least one staff person or chaperone. who
And it kind of
is-
defeats the purpose if we're sending multiple buses out, like one person is on one bus. If there's an emergency on a different bus.
But it's better than nobody.
Not necessarily, if you're driving on a highway somewhere, you know what I mean, like they could be behind each other or they could be miles apart.
Same thing if you
Right.
break into
I
smaller
think it's like a
groups.
false sense of security, that there's somebody CPR trained with their child the whole time, and that's not gonna be true necessarily.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
I like the
It's
idea,
just an extra component.
but I would wanna run it through legal first. I feel like it would open us up to liability that the state's not putting us at that level yet.
Yeah, because I think we'd also have to add in, and the equipment is. Like, do we have a portable, all that stuff that we would haul?
Yeah.
So you'd have to,
But it's the same thing, we have one per bus.
Right.
The trip to the zoo broken into 8 different groups, does every group have one?
No,
But I mean, that's all like, where's the line?
sure, I'm not even saying AED, when you are CPR certified, that comes with the certification. But we as a
Well, it
district,
doesn't
our
always.
policy, we don't have to say the person has to carry an AED.
Right, so actually the state with the facilities use policy is, it came about because of the AED, that there had to be someone who was AED trained.
Right.
And they have to have an AED accessible to them, and so it's actually more the focus on the AED than the CPR training.
Right, but if I just want to bring this down to, I understand it's not a state requirement. I'm asking the board to consider, do we, in the name of safety, want to have our children as safe outside of our building as they are inside?
yeah, I mean, I just, and I think David's point is a good one as well, is. When the kids went down and did the Halloween walk, should they have had a CPR, AED, they paraded through the village and stuff.
Right.
I mean, when they went to the library, should they be taking, the equipment and trained personnel with them? I mean, I would be, I don't have a problem with it personally going in. What I would want to see though is then reword that so I could see like
Sure.
it's where it's possible, and then the same with the lawyers. The lawyers need to look at it and say, you know, if you say where it's possible, something happens and you don't have it, you're now liable for it. I don't,
We can run it by, we have a policy meeting on Thursday.
so
Can I
we
ask a
want,
question?
yeah, go ahead.
I was just thinking like and I totally get what Chris is saying, and I think it would be great, but I just don't know if it's possible. But like, I'm just thinking like when you put your kid on the bus in the morning to and from school, like I'm just saying my daughter's on the bus for like at least a half an hour, say. There's nobody trained there. I think there's just an extent to which we can provide this. Unfortunately, it can't be every single minute that the kids are under the school's watch, so to speak. It would be great, but I do think we should probably have like a cover your, you know what. But what do we say about the kids just taking the bus to school or something, like, you know, or if they stay after for Girl Scouts or garden club, or I'm just thinking of all that.
I think it's kind of an unwritten thing right now. It's like wherever possible, have people, and that's why they're trained. But if you put it in
Yeah.
writing, it could have
So why don't you take this back to the policy committee? Let's see what, you know, how it would be written in and see what the lawyers say, like, you know, I mean, if it's a matter of where possible, then, you know, then it's where possible. And it's definitely not being safer is better, but if it exposes us.
Sure.
So why don't we take that back to the policy committee, figure out where you think it would belong, bring it back up and take it through the lawyers, make sure that we're not setting ourselves up. All right,
Definitely fair. Thank you.
we'll table this one now, or do you want to,
We're gonna table.
table? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. President, Vice President's reports. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everyone. For those that came out and drove, you know, come on, get out, vote, the signs, all those things. Thank you. That was, you know, we ended up with 327 new voters and almost 3 times, I think, or almost double the number of voters that actually participated. I wanted to say thank you to the people that have been coming out and challenging us. You know, telling us what's on their mind, telling us where they're afraid of what could happen, telling us what they've heard about, you know, the budget and where it's going to go and all those things. You know, we used all of that to look at other options. I mean, it wasn't always just people saying, no, I don't think you should do this. It was, did you try this? Did you try that? Who's going to do that? Where are the experts? So the people that challenged the vote or challenged the capital project, thank you, because it was difficult for us to keep going back, you know, to the drawing board. But I think it was an excellent response. And to the people that supported it and voted yes, thank you for your trust. I know this is a big project. We don't do these things very often in Millbrook. And, you know, thank you for trusting in us and helping us. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, including the people that worked the election, and it was I think personally a great success, not just because it passed, but because we really had a whole another level of voter come out, tell us what they thought, give us the real impression of what Millbrook thinks. And now we go from here. One thing this is actually is one of my favorite times of the year. So I'm going to a breakfast on Thursday, Friday with a valedictorian and salutatorian, and it's actually like so much fun to just hear them talk, as they're finishing their career, and it's just very cool. So I think that's all I've got. Yep, that's all I've got. Chris?
Just a quick kind of shout out, if you will, to the band and the players that did the memorial service. That was fantastic. They did a great job. I also want to thank the people that, whether they're for it or against it, simply just took the time to listen, to read, have some dialogue. I don't think that happens enough. Someone reads something and they say, this is pretty much it. So I appreciate that, whether it's a yes or a no vote, if you took the time to kind of research it yourself, that's what we wanted. So that's all.
Very good. All right. Oh, let's see. Now are you?
Sure. I mean, I can be brief. I have two special thank yous. One special thank you and an introduction. Andrew Searmark was here in district today. He's been here actually since yesterday, getting to know folks down at Alden, working with Mr. Lipka, really trying to ensure a smooth transition. So this was his public introduction. I want to also publicly thank Samantha Lynch, Supervisor of Student Services, for being the ultimate team player and stepping in to support Elm Drive after the departure of Mrs. O'Connell. She enjoyed her open house with students and families last week, and she's really been enjoying her time with our youngest learners. So I just want to say publicly that we appreciate her just stepping in and helping to support that transition that was rather unexpected. We're interviewing for school psychologists. We are in the process there. We'll have more updates as we narrow down for our perfect fit candidate. And we are also working on a transition plan for the PPS department. I did want to point out that we are applying for and really crossing our fingers, hopeful for a safety grant to update infrastructure for our door access systems, some of our video systems. And one very cool thing that Elliot and I met with a gentleman from CRG is we would have all of our buildings digitally mapped for in the event of an emergency, it would be accessible by law enforcement. And one of the things that if we have a God forbid emergency, like a lockdown, it's going to be whatever closest cars that descend on here. So it's not necessarily going to be people who are familiar with our buildings, but this would allow any person responding to an emergency to have that access digitally. So we are very hopeful that some of that money will come through. I did highlight two opportunities that I will have over the next week or so to sit down with people in decision-making positions regarding the future of New York education. So one of them is a small group of superintendents who will be having a focus group with some folks from state ed on reimagined accountability. The other one is Senator Shelley Mayer, who's the chair of the Senate Education Committee. So those are two separate groups that I'll be working with in the next week or so. I have some upcoming events highlighted there. We did get news of our IDEI special education federal grant money coming through. It's about $17,000 less than last year, but nevertheless, there was concern that they were going away altogether. So we did get notified that we will be getting that money. And then just some athletic updates from Mr. Hamill. We do have 4 teams that will be taking on students from Weetabix. We will be the home school, but we will be playing with a merger with Weetabix. So we will have a varsity football team, a modified football team, a girls varsity soccer team, and a girls modified soccer team, all playing with here post school, but with additional students from Weetabix. Unfortunately, we only had one student who was interested in fall season cheerleading, and so there won't be a cheerleading team at this current moment. But other than that, it will be kind of business as usual in terms of athletics. And that is what I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Anybody? Questions? All right, thank you, Caroline. All right, Mr. John.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be brief also. Facilities and the technology and food service departments work together to install 9 new sensors on all our district refrigeration equipment. This way they can alert us for any loss of temperature on our refrigeration or freezer units, and designated staff will be alerted, so you don't lose thousands of dollars worth of food. So it's the new technology in the way now, so which is really good. And just all of the district vehicles have been branded with the new Millbrook Central School District logo, which is really cool. So they can notice our trucks. We got the new logo on all the doors, on all the trucks. You know, they were actually done by one of our maintenance guys, Chris Vail. Good questions on anything else?
Okay. Jen, Dina?
I don't know if we brought it up, but I also,
Thank you, John.
I did also want to thank the administration for all our hard work in the capital project and the capital project team as well. No, you don't agree with that? No, I mean, they deserve it. I mean, it was many years of putting through a lot of work, so.
Should add the board members to that. Also, you guys did an amazing job getting the message out there, but even the students, the staff,
Yeah.
they were amazing. Students,
We actually dedicated a Millbrook minute to them.
Yeah.
So we did all the groups in the community that helped with that.
like a total team effort, the
Yeah,
community, the
truly.
board members, the kids, the staff, the administration. It was a great job. The schools, we desperately need it, so it's gonna be an exciting time. Projects coming up, you know.
For sure.
All right, let's see, who's next?
Good evening. So at Millbrook High School, previously shared, our classroom teachers have been reading classroom habitudes throughout the school year. We have 2 chapters left, and we will finish that at the beginning of the 25-26 school year. Additionally, our ELA teachers and social studies teachers have been working with Garrett Jones-Roy. And a lot of good work has transpired and has been implemented in our classrooms. So that's been a really good addition to our work in the building. Likewise, Dan August has recently started with working with our math teachers. And I've heard nothing but great feedback from our math department. And we're excited to continue that work with him and expanding on what he has offered. Lastly, and it's so incredibly hard to believe, next week we begin Regents and local exams. Teachers have been reviewing for these end of the year assessments. In terms of conduct and safety, we held our last lockdown drill yesterday, unplanned, but the bell rang towards the end of our drill, and all of our students properly stayed in the classrooms until released by me over the PA. So that was nice to see. And as a result, we have completed the number of drills required for the school year. Thursday, we will hold a reunification drill at the high school for our 10th grade students and families only. Notifications have been sent out, reminders, our team is ready. The middle school team will be assisting us and other districts will be observing. So we're very excited and nervous at the same time for Thursday. But we're looking forward to it and fingers crossed that it goes well. In terms of some special highlights, I definitely want to highlight a few as well. We had an outstanding musical, The Addams Family, directed by Chelsea Edson and Hallie Wack. Mr. Dunninger led our orchestra pit. I have to say the performance on both nights were simply amazing. The kids performed extremely well. We had a lot of help from a lot of people, and I would definitely be remiss if I didn't mention Deputy Freer, who volunteered much of his time with the set. I don't know if you saw the set, but it was simply amazing. And just overall, the production was a result of months of teamwork and commitment from our students and staff. So congratulations to all of our students who contributed to a really great production. On Friday night, we held our prom at Christo's. All the kids shared that they had a great time, definitely from my observations. Venue was very nice. Appetizers were good. And they really danced from start to finish. So you really love to see that, because that means that they're really enjoying themselves, and a lot of them stayed to the bitter end. So that's really great. Tomorrow, our middle school 8th graders will be visiting the high school for the first time for a taste of a little orientation. So we have 8 National Honor Society volunteers that will be leading the tour and speaking to students and answering questions. And then our freshman orientation will take place on August 26th at 9 a.m. And that's a little bit more in depth, where our students will meet with teachers, advisors, coaches, and walk their schedule. And as board president had mentioned, Friday, I'll be joining President and Superintendent Hernandez for the valedictorian and salutatorian at the distinguished breakfast at Villa Borghese and Wappingers for our Val and Sal breakfast. So definitely looking forward to that. It truly is a great annual event. And then just lastly, some upcoming events. We have our annual Big Blue Day this Friday, June 6th. On Monday, we have our grades 9 through 11 award ceremony. And then that evening at 6 p.m., we have our senior award ceremony. As mentioned, our last day of classes is June 10th, and then local and regions exams are between June 11th and June 25th. And graduation will take place on Friday, June 20th at 7 p.m. Let's hope for great weather. Any questions?
When you said you had a 10th grade, like that, is that the 10th grade coming in, or the
No reunification drill?
reunification? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the 10th grade that's coming in, or is it the?
Our current 10th graders, their parents will be coming and picking them up early for reunification, similar to what we did with 6th graders and the elementary buildings. So it's our turn at the high school.
And that's Thursday?
That's Thursday. 1 p.m.
Any other questions?
No, I just
Comment?
wanted to say that I took my daughter and a couple of her friends to the play, and it was fantastic. I had a great time. They had a great time. The actors, the show, everybody who was behind it. Thank you. It's so nice to be watching a play at a school. I wish we had all our schools doing them, but we're so grateful for everybody that put that together. They were so good. The actors were so good. We had a really good time. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. Dr. Watkins.
Absolutely. So I'll just keep it brief. I tried to make things clickable. I placed a copy in front of you, as Superintendent Hernandez already mentioned, of the continuing ed program that is out. The email went home today as well. The printed copy, we're just waiting on some legal and auditing advice to make sure about the printed copy going out. But we wanted to at least let our residents know that it was open, and so that people could sign up. I think, thank you to all of our instructors who have put together some really robust offerings for our community. Also celebrating summer scholars. So we have 61 students who have registered for summer scholars. So we're really excited. And that is our pre-K going into K. So K and our 8th grade students going into 9. So that group of students have registered. So we're really excited to have one group per grade level. And the other pieces, I know the board had previously asked just regarding the private school application process. So I put some data in my report just trying to disaggregate where our students and having those conversations as eighth graders with their counselor, Ms. Domino. Back in the fall, I talked through the application process when they're asking for their counselor signature and just getting additional updates on their decisions. Several, mostly males, interesting. I take that for what it's worth. And looking for sports and or the parent works in the school or whatnot. So you can look at that a little bit further. We are still waiting for our ESSA funds. I know Title I has been approved, but the state hasn't. They released Title I, II, III, and IV all at the same time. Good news about Title III is they found some more money from a few years ago. So they're going to be giving us, remember last, I think a few times ago, Caroline shared like, oh, they were a little short, and so we had to find money. Well, they found about $6,000 for us to have for ELL. So we will take care of that and put that towards our ELL students before the end of the year. And then the rest of it is really just updates about what's happening within each of our buildings, and you can take a look or ask any questions about anything specific.
I would just say thank you for putting together the information about the kids going to schools.
Absolutely.
I would say dig a little deeper if you can. If sports is a community, I'd like to know if it's a program that we offer and they don't think it's sufficient, or is it a program we don't have.
I can go
I'm
back
looking
and
for
look
what we
at
can
it to
do
see if it said
to
that, but
improve to retain students.
Yeah.
And to follow up on that, these were reasons provided by the students. I'm wondering if you feel comfortable reaching out to parents, because sometimes if it's a parent driven, you're going to private schools, sometimes the reasons they give their children might be a little bit different than the parents' reasons. So there may be something more to just sports.
The more we understand it, the
Yeah,
more we can do
absolutely.
something
It's
about
a
it.
feedback loop for us to improve.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And was it only middle school, or, I mean, are we notified of Elm, Alden, high school, I would imagine, if children are applying to private schools as well? Do we have that data? Or do we only want to look at, because I was like, oh, you know.
Where my focus was specifically based on discussions from the board really
Sure.
was the drop off at eighth grade. So from eighth to ninth, that drop off,
Right.
because that's when they were seeking either Lord's or Trinity Pauling or some other kind of private school that's in our area that the students were interested in going in. And I can dig a little bit deeper. Some of them did. I know I read football and things like that. I might have seen a lacrosse, but I can try to get a little bit deeper, and we can try to survey the parents to see. I will say that just from the initial conversations, because Ms. Namadar did do a great job getting this information, just having that relationship with the students, there is a level of discomfort in those conversations because the students and or the parents feel like we're upset at them. So it's just trying to create comfort and like let help us grow for our other students, so we can work on the best way to have those conversations with parents.
Maybe once we have a student on the board,
I think that could be
we
great.
can use that person to tell us, number one, tell us what we might wanna, how we might wanna approach it. Number two, may provide insights into
That's a great idea.
things that, you know.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay, thanks, Amy.
You're welcome.
All right, future agenda items. Do we have any questions or comments from the public?
We have one, it is from Alicia O'Connell. It says, it is with immense pride and heartfelt joy that I offer my deepest congratulations to Mrs. Freeman on officially receiving her tenure tonight. Tenure is not just a milestone. It's a celebration of years of unwavering dedication, creativity, and commitment to early childhood education. From the day I met her, Samantha's created a classroom that radiates warmth, wonder, and joy, laying the foundation for lifelong love of learning in our littlest learners. Her ability to nurture curiosity, support the whole child, and partner with families has made a lasting impact on the culture of our school. Samantha Freeman, thank you for your tireless effort, your giant heart, and the magic that you bring to our school community every day. You're so deserving of this moment, and Millbrook is lucky to have you on the Elm Drive team.
Hopefully we can make sure she gets that.
I did, I emailed it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Alicia. All right, next is, executive session, for those, anybody that's online. We do go to executive session and discuss usually, personnel, and student issues, but that is not the end of the meeting. The end of the meeting is we come back to public session. If there's any action we need to take, we have to do that in public session, so we'll be back. With that, do I have a motion to go to executive session? Do I have a second?
1 second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Hi.
Any against? Okay. All right. I have to.